Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. Um, gonna try to keep this short. Um, gonna try to keep this short. Uh, if you joined us this afternoon, we had a special guest this week for the Love of Comics was joining us, which was fantastic. It's been nice kind of having a couple of people other than the same kind of core group of us come and visit. Um, I really love the hey Tylux, how you doing? I really love the kind of guest spot, especially when it comes to. I can't speak for any other chat, but it feels like our chat. We have kind of built this international kind of panel. So it was fantastic to have for the Love of Comics from New Delhi, and then of course Earl Grey from Germany, Rasa from the UK, Damien from the United States, and then of course me, Canadian. We did have some sad news at the end of it, though. Earl Grey is no longer going to be able to hang out on the weekly chats. Totally understand it. It's been fantastic having him around. I sent him a message afterwards. Hopefully, we'll see him in the future. The door is still open. If he ever wants to come and hang out with us again, that would be fantastic. But yeah, he's going to be missed. He's a great guy. His videos are amazing. Anybody who knows his channel knows how great they are. And I think some of the transition for some people is the kind of live thing versus kind of really putting some thought into it and making a video about a subject or a book or whatever it is and having the chance to edit it and things. And I absolutely see that appeal. But he will be missed for sure. Nobody to chant boner 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 with now. Gonna have to figure something out. So it was great to have him on the show for as long as we did. So it kind of brings me to I'm gonna throw this up here. So we've talked about it before, but if anybody's interested in kind of coming to hang out with us on Sundays, you all know the time. It's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is my time here in Manitoba. You can figure it out from where you live based on that time. We would like to kind of again open the door to people. There's a couple of people in mind that I'd love to have on. There's obviously a couple that we've already had on. It would be good to kind of get a group of people, and it wouldn't all be this very next weekend, but I'd love to start collecting a list and see if we can work out a schedule for people. It also allows us to kind of take the odd week off here. With my wife being back in a full swing of movie work and stuff, the next show, it's always a bit up in the air depending on what the schedule is for the shows. Generally, it's Monday to Friday, but sometimes that's not the case. So the ability to take the Sundays off every once in a while, rotating us and stuff, I think would be a great thing to hopefully avoid any kind of burnout. Some weeks are a little rougher than others. This week was a little rough for me, but it would be nice to have some other people come and sit in with us. So if you're interested in a spot, just shoot me an email at that email address there, fullert1973 at gmail.com. That's kind of the one that I have associated with this YouTube account. Reach out to me there. Let me know you're interested. By this time, if you're watching this video, chances are you know about the format of our show. Gore Vidal, how's it going? Chaos and Comics, hello. The format of our show, we generally talk about what we've been reading that week. Sometimes it's new comics, sometimes it's dollar bin comics, sometimes it's graphic novels that have just come out. It's completely an open format, which is what I've always loved about doing videos, which is why I've kind of transitioned to doing just live streams. As much fun as it was doing pre-recorded and doing the editing, that was a blast for quite a while. It's just so much work, and my time is just even more and more limited, especially with things getting busy. So it takes a lot of work to put those things together, and I applaud people that do it. I think they do a phenomenal job. I really like the live streams. I like the back and forth. I like the flying off the cuff, you know what I mean? Like talking about a book in the moment. Sometimes you get the most pure, I feel like I get the most pure thoughts out of something if I just kind of talk about it in the moment or something that I've read just a couple of days before. So that's kind of what we stick to. But again, it's open. And again, if you've watched us, kids books, adult books, nothing is off limits. We don't censor anything. You talk whatever you want to talk about. Obviously, there's going to be a limit with that. We're not going to get into any political debates. This is comic centric, and we're going to be talking about those kind of things. But even if you just want to come and just hang out and join in the conversation live, we're trying to keep it. It was a good experiment today. This is the first time we've done a chat. I think it's the first time we've done a chat with 5 people. I think for the most part, it worked okay. I feel like 4 is a really good number, though. 4 seems to really maximize the conversation with everybody. So you can get a chance to kind of participate in the conversation. The more people, it just becomes a little more difficult. Because again, part of the whole point of doing these live shows is to have interaction with the chat, have interaction with the people in the room. So I'm glad we gave it a shot today. I think 5 might be a little too much. So we'll probably kind of cap it back a little bit. Obviously, this will be talking to Rasa and Damien about it. But if you want to come and hang out, if you want to contribute, please shoot me a message at that email. And we'd be glad to work something out. We'd love to see you. A couple of things. We talked about, I read a few Call the Conqueror. We talked about that. Yes, Chaos and Comics. He's out for the time being. The invitation is always there for him to come back. But he's going to pack it in for now so he can focus more on kind of doing his pre-recorded videos and doing kind of those pieces, which is completely understandable. We also talked about I talked about I Saw It. What I didn't get a chance to talk about, which is fine because there's not much to say. Batman: The Adventure Continues, season number 2, issue number 4. I think this was my favorite issue of the bunch so far of this second season. I've talked about it a million times, so that's all I'm going to say about it. I thoroughly enjoy that book. And the other thing that I didn't have a chance to chat about, I haven't finished it. I've still got 2 issues left to go. I think this was another dollar bin. So at 204 Comics, there were some comics in the dollar. He had a couple of dollar bin boxes. Well, he actually had about 8 or 10 dollar bin boxes. I pulled a little bit of stuff out of there. There wasn't a ton. One of them that I pulled out of there was a 6-issue series called Mob Fire. So this is kind of classic era Vertigo. So 94, 95. Yeah, December 94 is issue number 1. Gary Usha and Warren Pleece are the creators on these. And it's interesting. It's really hitting a little bit of a valley where I just finished issue number 4 this afternoon, and it's kind of taken a dip into I don't know. I'm unsure of how it's going to finish. The art is pretty fantastic. Kind of has this nice grittiness to it. It's basically this mob family. The father has died. The son is now going to take it over, but he wants to take it over so he can run it into the ground. He doesn't want to see this exist anymore. So there's also some magic elements in here as well too. There's some black magic going on. There's and I'm waiting for him to make an appearance again. Where was that? John Constantine appears in this one, just in the background for a panel, I think. Yeah, right here. Appears in the background and is called out by name. So I don't know if there's any kind of crossover with the Hellblazer universe with these characters in here. But like I said, this kid wants to take it over and completely annihilate the family. He's come up against one of his dad's kind of henchmen who is kind of versed in like voodoo and the black arts and stuff. And his name is this character here on the front cover of issue number 4. So his father rescued him. He was tied up in an alley. He was going to be killed. His father rescued him, so he was indebted to his father, and kind of used his magic to kind of help the family. But it's at this point now where once the father's gone, there's nobody left. His name is the Bokor, Bocor. So now that there's no allegiance, he's kind of on his own, and his motivation seems so far to be kind of against the family itself and potentially trying to take it over. He's creating zombies and things. There's some neat moments in here. This is a good moment. They're setting a trap for the Bokor, and the main character, the son, whose name I'm blanking on, has kind of this mental telepathy where he can kind of view people's thoughts and kind of see where they are. He starts losing touch with his kind of partner here that's setting up this trap. And as the panels kind of continue, the lines get all interrupted and jagged. The lettering starts to fade. Thought it was a nice little touch just to kind of illustrate that moment. It's not a horrible series. It's not. I'm just curious where it's going to go. I'm reserving judgment till I'm finishing the last 2 issues, but as you well know, it's Vertigo, so I'm completely willing to give it a chance. That's all I really read this week. It's been a very, very, very busy week, so I haven't had a chance to dip into too much else. One of the things that we've been doing, Lillian's birthday is coming up November 1st, so we had a kid's birthday party for her yesterday, and it was a Halloween party, so all of the kids dressed up, had games and a barbecue, and then I borrowed a projector from the office, and we projected a movie on the side of on the garage, and they had a blast. So she's going as Princess Mononoke. So I wanted to show off the mask that I made for her, which I'm super impressed with, actually. Some kind of red highlights in there. It's all styrofoam and foam, so it weighs absolutely nothing. My wife did kind of the fur coat, the bone necklace, which is also kind of this clay that air dries into kind of like a foamy substance as well too. So everything is very, very lightweight. But this she'll just be wearing on top of her head like Princess Mononoke in the movies there. But it was a really, really fun project. Gives me a bunch of ideas actually for masks for myself. It's a half of styrofoam ball that was hollowed out. And then just some other styrofoam that I taped on, did some paper mache over top of it to tie it all together, and then just spent hours painting it layer after layer after layer. So yeah, super impressed with the way that turned out. That was a lot of fun. She loves it. She looked fantastic in the costume. So I'm looking forward to seeing her Halloween go full out. I may do a couple of more touches on this to kind of bring out some of the texture and stuff a little more, but so far so good. And then finally, the last thing in our weekly kind of movie viewing, me and my son, this week was Sam Fuller's The Naked Kiss, with some art by Daniel Clowes on the front cover and on the inside as well. And man, oh man, this is 1964. And this was so good. I love Sam Fuller. I've talked about him before. There's some great documentaries out there on YouTube with him. Check him out. What's it? The Rifle, the Camera, and the Typewriter. I think that's one. Some kind of combination of those words, I think. Check out that one. Tim Robbins is kind of the host of that one. That's a fantastic look at his whole career. And he has that kind of... he's got that kind of old man grit about the way that he talks. So it was really hard to kind of internally hear his voice when some of this dialogue was happening here. This lead actress in this, though, plays a prostitute who's trying to turn her life around. It's not saying her name on there. She did a lot of TV work. And she was absolutely incredible. Constance Towers was her name. She did a bang-up job in this. It was just an incredible performance. It plays out like there's so much that kind of plays out like a Disney film, where it's just this really sickly, sweet kind of existence. She's literally singing with handicapped children at one point. But in the next breath, she's beating the shit out of this brothel madam and shoving money into her mouth, scaring her off, trying to turn out one of her friends. Phenomenal story. And then the big twist at the end. I think was just really well worth it. And I want to spoil it, but I'm not going to. It was unbelievable. She kind of finally falls in love with somebody, and they're going to get married. She's completely honest with him, tells this guy what her past was as a prostitute and why she gave it up, and he accepts her anyway, and they're going to get married. And then from there, I mean, because the whole movie is just so sweet that you just know that it's going to come crashing down. I really enjoyed seeing this one again. It's been so long that I've seen it that I forgot a couple of things. There's kind of her would-be husband, and really highly recommended, as is any Sam Fuller movie. But Criterion always amazes with the kind of artists that they've had associated, like Sean Phillips, and again, like Mr. Daniel Clowes. I think Seth might have done some work for them. I think, yeah, a bunch of comic book artists have done some work for various things. So really, really worth it. Let's see what I missed here. Are you going to show you something? Yeah, eventually I will. Yeah, Gore and I were talking about The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, and Peter Greenway a little bit through email back and forth. Peter Greenway is one of my all-time favorite directors. Haven't seen anything like his movies out there. Jackio, how's it going? Saw the Instagram pics of the party. Oh, that outdoor theater. It was so much fun, actually. The kids absolutely loved it. AFPC, how you doing? Constance Towers. Yeah, it's a great name for sure. Yeah, she's, and then once we've kind of finished the rest of the costume, she's got most of it done. And my wife did some face paint on her as well. Not going for the blood face paint. Lillian didn't want that. She just got kind of like the triangles under her eyes and stuff. Once it all kind of is tied together, it's going to be great. I don't know that one, My Life to Live. I know that Godard was a huge fan of Sam Fuller, and I think Sam Fuller appeared in a Godard film. I don't remember the title of it now, though, but he had a bit part, and he was Fuller was a huge influence for Godard. And Criterion is absolutely the way to go. Honestly, the thing with Criterion, there is a Criterion channel. You can get the app on your phone. I don't remember how much it was a month. I had tried it out. I think I did like a 3-month, like early on when it first started. It's just at that time, I just wasn't watching a lot. So I tried it out for a few months and ended up watching, I think, 2 movies on there. But check out the Criterion channel. There's another one that has a new streaming service as well, too. I want to say Kino, but I'm not sure if that's the way that it is. Shoot, I can't remember. Today I saw Greenway discussing Dante and the Divine Comedy. Okay. That was, yeah. Gordell spends weekends fighting crime in the midday, so it's hard for me to get on YouTube. It's true. Yeah, AFPC. This is the foam mask that I made for her, the Mononoke mask. And then my wife did kind of the faux fur cloak and the fake jewelry, and we've got a spear that we're going to make as well too, with some more foam. So it was a really, really fun project, and she looked badass. Okay, there you go. A lot of Criterions on Hoopla, I think. Nice. Well, that's good to know. So again, if you want to appear on our weekend chat, if you're interested, again, even if it's just to kind of hang out and just kind of join in the conversation, obviously we would love people to want to chat, who want to contribute to the conversation. AFPC had said it, and I think he said it very well in the comments on this last video. I love the idea, you know, that we have this kind of international crew of people, male and female. I would love to get more women involved in the chat, to be honest, too. I know that we have people like Miss So that hang out in the chat. I would love to see more female contributors as well, too. Would be phenomenal. But I think we've got a really interesting group of people. And now that we're sort of bringing in new faces and new voices, it's only going to lend itself to be even more killer conversations. We love having everybody in the chat, but we'd love to make it a little more interactive and have people on camera so we can talk live, get to know each other a little bit better. One of the things I'd said to Earl Grey in the email that I sent him after the show was just it was nice to kind of have that FaceTime, because we all kind of get this way of feeling like we know the people that we're watching the videos of, especially in these live ones where we get a chance to interact. It is still completely different once you see them face to face. I remember when Dr. Monkeybot and I and Rasa were doing the chats, like at the beginning there, when he had to kind of stop the video that he did, it choked me up just watching him, because you do get this kind of different bond when you're talking to somebody on screen. And again, you just feel like you know them that much more in kind of the little bit of time before we go live, where we sit and chat, or if we hang out after the show and stuff like that. And then just the emails back and forth sometimes throughout the week. Really fantastic to kind of grow the kind of conversation that we all have about comics and things in a bit of a bigger way. So shoot me an email there if you're interested. And I'd love to try to schedule something. Other than that, I think males and female. Yeah. Right now, one. Yeah, no, hey, you know what? I've said it to Gore Vidal as well, too. If you want to set up your camera looking at a photograph or looking at the book itself and all we see is your hands, and if you want to alter your voice, AFPC, I would love that. Honestly, that would be brilliant. And of course, Gore Vidal, the offer is still there. I want to get you before Chaos and Comics does. It's kind of our unspoken little back and forth there. Who's going to get Gore Vidal live on their show first? Yeah, honestly, though, I really encourage everybody who's interested to just shoot a message, and we'll work something out. Damien won't be with us next weekend, so far it'll be myself and Rasa. I am hoping that the comic board reaches out. I talked to him in the chat potentially about coming to hang out with us next weekend. But so far it's open. So anybody who wants to, shoot us an email and we'll talk comics. There you go. Here's the trick. Gore shows up as AFPC and next week AFPC shows up as Gore. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I hear you, Gore. No pressure. I don't mean to pressure you live while you're in the chat. It's just, it would be fantastic to have a conversation with everybody. That's it. I'm about 25 minutes, which is about the longest that I can sit. I can feel my butt cheek, the pain kind of building. So I took some muscle relaxants. I'm having a booze, or as my friend calls it, the poor man's heroin. And I'm going to go veg out and finish that Mob Fire series. Thanks very much for hanging out, guys. We'll talk to you next weekend.